Hello, and welcome back to the Saints Squad Show. I'm your host, Dylan Sanders of Saints Wire. And is it bad that I'm actually kind of upset I'm not watching the Hall of Fame game?
John Hendricks, New Orleans football. And if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
I'm Ross Jackson, host of the Locked On Saints podcast, and I think I really had a ton of fun at New Orleans Saints practice today, and I know I wasn't the only one.
This is former Saints wide receiver Lance Moore, and while I wasn't at practice today, I did do something that I've never done before.
Ooh.
It's the Saints Squad, sponsored by Gametime. Everything New Orleans Saints, every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from down in the Big Easy, the way only Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Saints Squad Show, starting now.
Howdy, Who Dat Nation, and welcome back to the Saints Squad Show, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every Monday and Thursday. We have a unique group of experts here ready to bring you a fun and informative show on everything New Orleans Saints. Today, training camp happened. Ross had a great time. I had a great time hearing about it, and y'all are going to have some fun with it. So that's what we're talking about. Defensive takeaways, offensive takeaways. We have our winners from week one overall, but we're going to start off with the quarterback battle. And a pretty big update because going into it, we all said the same thing. Well, at least me and Ross said the same thing. That if Rattler wanted to win the job, he'd have to come in and earn it. If there was a 50-50, we felt like Kellen Moore might lean to Tyler Shuck. Who knows? All that's out the window now because we've come out of camp and Spencer Rattler is doing what he's needed to do. I think we talked about last week about him having the current little lead on the quarterback job, and I think that's only gotten tighter. Let's start off with Ross. What do you think of the quarterbacks right now, and has it been a battle, really?
Yeah, no, it's definitely been a battle. And you know what? I'm gonna give Jake Hayner his due. It has been a 3-man battle. It really has been. Like Jake Hayner has absolutely surprised me. I don't think that he's in position still to win the QB1 spot, but that's only because Spencer Rattler has really taken a hold of that. He's been excellent. He's been very good in terms of getting through his progressions, running the offense, making big plays there, and making sure that he's taking risk and leading the offense down the field, doing all the things that he needs to do. I think Spencer Rattler is absolutely at the top of the totem pole when it comes to those 3 guys. But it's so interesting because now I'm starting to have some question marks about who quarterback number 2 might be, because Jake Hayner's performances have been so ridiculously good. That's partially facetious, but his performances have truly been really good. But yeah, no, I think Spencer Rattler sits firmly atop this conversation. And honestly, it's going to take a big swing right now for Tyler Shuck to change that. The most recent couple of practices for him have been, I'm going to say that they've been rough because it's not just him. Like, things have been rough around him as well. Like, bad snaps have kind of impacted him quite a bit. Pressures impacted him quite a bit. So it's all been rough around him when he's been with the second team, when he's been with the third team. He's looked at his best when he's been with the first team, which there's something to that. That's the team. Those are the guys you want him on the field with if he's starting games anyway. But I would still say that even in those situations, when I look at first team performance, Spencer Rattler is far and away the top performer in those situations.
Yeah. Lance, how do you feel about Rattler coming in and doing so well to start off, and how does that make you feel about where the quarterback room stands so far?
Well, it makes me feel like I was kind of right coming into this training camp.
Hey.
Yes, I believe John and I agree with you, Dylan, as well. That this is basically Spencer Rattler's job to start, and he's going to have to do something to go earn the job, which he's doing exactly what we've kind of all said that he was going to do. He's the guy that's had a little bit more time in the NFL. He's a guy that's lightly seasoned in the league, and he's showing that every day. I read some of the report today about practice, and Tyler Shuck kind of taking some chances today that he hasn't taken leading up. And I feel like that could potentially be him starting to press a little bit, understanding or feeling the fact that Spencer Rattler has been better. So maybe he's going to kind of put his foot on the gas a little bit to try to, make some plays to maybe make up some of that ground. But honestly, you want to see all of those guys in all of those huddles operating under duress in chaos, because if you can get that from those guys in practice, then when things hit the fan in the games, you know that they've kind of already been there and done that. And you want to see how they respond in practices for sure before you throw them out there in live action to see how they deal with stuff. And look, Jake Hayner is not a guy that's going to just let the other two guys have it their way and then him just be the bystander, right? Like, he's a tough guy. He had a great career in college. He didn't come into the NFL with great expectation, obviously, but he's a guy that has had to earn everything. And you're seeing that in practice now. Like, he's not a guy that's just going to sit there and let the other two guys be the only guys in the quarterback battle. He's going to play himself into that battle. Now, whether he starts or not, that's a whole different conversation. And obviously that's not at any of our 4 pay grades, right? That's something that Kellen Moore is going to have to deal with. But, you asked me specifically about Spencer Rattler, and I think Spencer Rattler is doing exactly what we thought he was going to do. And I think he'll continue to do that throughout this preseason.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll be real, like, nobody's set here to count out Tyler Shuck. Like, there's still training camp left, there's still preseason left, and there's still, like, even if Spencer Rattler is the starter week 1, he's gonna have to keep winning that role over and over and over again, because eventually you might want to turn things over to Tyler Shuck to at least see what you've got there. And so I don't think that anybody's counting Tyler Shuck out, but man, it's so clear that Spencer Rattler's the guy so far.
Yeah. John, what do you think?
I mean, keep saying it's Spencer Rattler's job until Tyler Shuck takes it, and it doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. So it's, again, the reasons why. I mean, it's almost like the guy who was here last year is the guy that should be starting. I mean, it's not really a mystery to me. I mean, like, I guess really think about it, and we've talked about it on this show plenty of times about a rookie coming in, facing live bullets, doing all this stuff, pressing, all these other things that are happening. He's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. We want him to be a Jaden Daniels or a Jalen Hurts in his first year. That's just not where we're at. I mean, look at the caliber of the team right now and everything. I mean, not a shot at him, but it's just, there's a lot of growing pains that are going to happen with this team. And again, is this anything that's going to change their win total from 5 to 6? Maybe. Is it going to go from 5 to 10? Probably not. But I mean, again, at this point, I think the quarterback battle is playing it out just like it should. And look, Hunter Decker is getting released and waived. I think that's more a sign of where Jake Hayner is at. And look, I'll tell you what, we saw it last year in training camp, Ross. It was a team drill. Jake Hayner leading the drive, and he does this naked bootleg that fools the entire defense. And he made sure every single person knew about it. This dude is a competitor. He is a 100% competitor, and I guarantee you nobody knows better than what the media has not said about Jake Hayner than Jake Hayner, right? And so I love his competitive attitude. Again, I think this offense fits him better, much better than what some of the other things does. Now, is that going to give him a chance to be the starter? I don't see it, not with over Spencer Rattler, but could he maybe press for a second spot? Hey, that would be really interesting to play out. But I think at this point in time, not surprised Spencer Rattler is where he's at and looking as good as he is. And again, the guy's been around. He's had the experience. Some people downplayed the 7 games that he was in last year. That stuff matters. I mean, whether he did well or didn't do well, that's real life NFL experience against NFL teams that have NFL players. It counts for something. So look, I think Rattler's in it for the long haul right now, unless Tyler Shuck just comes back. I mean, it's like, it's Rocky fight, right? Like Rocky's getting the crap kicked out of him. Can he knock back? You know what I mean? That's kind of where we're at with Tyler Shuck. Or is Drago going to win? I don't know. Drago can win this time.
Hey, Lance, I have a quick question for you, if it's all right, Dylan. I'm gonna ask you a stupid question, but it's because I think your answer will be valuable. Do bad experiences in games help you be better in the NFL?
Yes. 100%.
And how,
I mean, look,
yeah.
I think you learn more from those type of experiences than you would if you go out there and he was a world beater from day one. He would maybe feel like he's got it all figured out, right? But going out there and having to struggle through those games that he played in, especially with the cast of characters that he had around him, I think that's invaluable experience that he's gained, and I think would even give him more confidence knowing now that he's going to be out there with the first group, right? With all the starters, a healthy group of guys, for him to really be able to go out and showcase himself and exactly all the things that he's capable of doing, as opposed to going out there with, half the starters and half practice squad guys. It's tough to be your best self out there. And look, to John's point, I mean, I really think there's some validity to Jake Hayner potentially being the backup quarterback, right? Like if we go through this whole offseason and Tyler Shuck just isn't ready, there isn't any harm in making him your third string quarterback and allowing him to sit and to learn. I don't think you're putting him on the shelf for good. I think it would be, hey, this guy won the job. This other guy is more ready than you are. He doesn't automatically have to be the backup if he doesn't win the starting job. I mean, I do think that is a real thing. I do not think that we're going to see Jake Haener as a starter, regardless of what happens, right? Even in these preseason games. But I do think it's a valid thing that he could potentially be the backup. And then if the starter, whoever it may be, is not playing well, we see him playing as well this season.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna raise
I
my
mean,
hand
when
it's time, Dylan. No, go ahead. I just had something to add to Lance. That's all.
No, go ahead.
Do
No,
it,
no,
do
you
it, do it.
I didn't do
No,
it.
it's
Now's the
just
best time.
relevant. So listen to this is last year, to Lance's point, to talk about the backup. We made so much about Jake Hayner being the backup to Derek Carr, right? But why did Dennis Allen go to Spencer Rattler? Is because of the work he put in with the show team. They thought he was the one that was giving it time. Again, that could be something that happens. Just throwing that out there. I mean, again, I'm not saying that DA did something right or anything like that, but I'm just telling you that stuff will end up coming to show itself sooner rather than later if that does come to fruition.
No, you're good. That was perfect. I am glad that we're seeing a little bit more Jake Hayner, because as we've talked about, Spencer Rattler, needing the opportunity. I think Jake Hayner is someone that we might have kind of overlooked as someone who needs this opportunity and is in the best opportunity possible. Think back to what kind of quarterback would be the perfect kind of person to get the most out of Jake Hayner. It's someone who was Jake Hayner. It's Kellen Moore. Like, he knows what Jake Hayner can do. He knows he was the guy that was the more game manager. He played in the explosive offense in college. He knows that transition to the NFL. He knows what he does. And I feel like right now, if Kellen Moore was to be like, hey, we need a backup quarterback, I am way more comfortable that I know what we can do with Jake Hayner than what we can do with Tyler Shuck. I mean, that's why we have all of the preseason. That's why we have training camp. But right now, I mean, I think the quarterback order really is Rattler, Hayner, and Shuck. Like, if a game were to start today, that's what it would be. And I think Hayner has more of an opportunity or more of a chance playing for Kellen Moore because of his style, rather than it being something that's holding him back, in my opinion.
I'll say if Hayner doesn't get like the backup role or whatever and continues to perform well, I wouldn't be shocked if he tries to push for an opportunity to go and make waves somewhere else. Like, he's just having a really strong camp, and everybody's talking about it and all these other things. Like, it's not QB1 strong, but it's strong enough to say, hey, I deserve an opportunity, right? And I think that the idea of like the quote unquote like turn it over to Tyler Shuck narrative and everything is really just about learning what you have, not him getting something he doesn't deserve or anything like that. But like, if the Saints are out of the playoffs by Thanksgiving and you got a couple more games left in the season, you might as well see what you have in them before you go into draft next year and what could be a really good quarterback class and stuff like that. And so I think the biggest takeaway for me when it comes to this quarterback position is that really this thing could go any which way all throughout the 17-game season. But what we're seeing right now very much feels like Spencer Rattler is comfortably ahead. And now there's kind of this duel between Jake Hayner and Tyler Shuck. And honestly, I think that's good for everybody involved. That's going to make everybody in that room better, which I think is what you're looking for. It might be part of the reason why Kellen Moore and this offensive staff didn't say, let's go get a veteran quarterback, because they wanted these guys pit against one another and battling it out and improving within the competition.
Yeah. And listen, if they miss on this, they're just going to address it next year. I mean, that's just what it is. Yeah. If Rattler doesn't work out and Shuck isn't the guy, they're just going to go address it next year. I mean, this is the thing that you're trying to do. This is a rebuild. I know we want to say the Saints are going to compete, do all this other stuff, but I mean, this is a rebuild plan, and this is where they got to hit. You got to figure out this quarterback spot if they want to compete and do anything this season.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Ross have said it on this channel for like ever since 30 minutes after Tyler Shuck was drafted. They didn't draft him in the first round. They waited until the second round, and if it doesn't work out, okay, you tried it. You took a shot at a quarterback, and nothing's really lost. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we're talking about Spencer Rattler winning, Jake Haener winning. What other non-quarterbacks have been winning so far in training camp? We're going to jump into that coming up next. I love golf. I'm really bad at it, and I really need to have as much energy as possible whenever I'm on the greens. So I choose to fuel up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're seeking birdies or trying to get through your friends laughing at you because you just made the worst hit they've ever seen, this is what you do. 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. Because let's be honest, some days on the course or off of it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. I'm hearing Ross drone on during his shows. I need a 5-Hour Energy to get through that episode. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that is the number 5energy.com. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today.
Droning on.
Lance, what did you do for the first time today?
I went surfing. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Did you kill it?
So look, we're in Laguna Beach, which is about an hour and 15 minutes away from my house in San Diego, and my wife thought it would be a good idea for my son and I to have a little surf lesson. Neither of us have ever done it. My son is 5. He's pretty fearless. So we went on down to a surf shop, got fitted for wetsuits this morning, got some boards and went and took a lesson. And when I tell you that the first 2 or 3 times that I tried to get up on that board, I probably looked the least athletic of the 4 of us by far. I mean, it was humbling. But once I looked over to my left and I saw all these young kids just getting up on the board so easily, I asked my instructor, I said, so what am I doing wrong that these kids are doing so correctly? And he said, you're almost too athletic. He said, you're trying to like use an athletic move and like, explode up onto the board. He was like, you've got more time than you think. He was like, when I tell you to get up, like you can literally just kind of take your time and get up on the board and get nice and balanced. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I literally thought that you had to like pop up as fast as you could.
He's thinking it's up downs. He's thinking it's up downs.
Dude, I was burping that thing, and that thing was burping me right off the board. But once I got the hang of it, I got like 2 or 3 or 4. Actually, I think I got 4 good smooth runs in a row. And like I'm a surfer now, so nice. I'm in San Diego, so I might as well be a surfer.
All right, we got our first winner We got our first winner on the run. It's Lance Moore for learning how to surf.
That's so dope.
John, why don't you give me a winner of the first week or so? We've had 8 practices. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
who's
8 days. 8 days. 7
8
practices.
days, 8 days, 7 practices. Who's the winner of week 1?
I'm gonna cheat here, y'all. I'm gonna say it's Kellen Moore. I think Kellen Moore
I love it.
is probably the guy
Yeah.
who's won the most here. I think he's established himself extremely well. I think the way he's embraced the fans, the city, the team, the way he's doing things. And we've talked about Kellen Moore putting his stamp on things. And look, he's a more recent player than a lot of these other coaches. And I got to tell you, I love how he's building this program. I love how he's got the buy-in from these players. And look, again, nothing could change, right? We've talked about this for months. All I want to see is this team be competitive. I don't care if they go 2-15, just be competitive because you can build off of that versus being a Jekyll and Hyde team every week. And I think with Kellen Moore, it seemingly looks like they picked the right guy for this job to do the right thing, and that Kellen Moore wanted this job specifically and to come in here and run the program the way he feels to know best. And he's had some great mentors, Mike McCarthy. He's had Brandon Staley, and he's also had Nick Sirianni. So I feel like he's got the culture part down. I feel like he's come in here and has just really done a fantastic job. I think he's handled himself well in the media. Again, he's a guy that you can tell is comfortable doing what he's doing and is relatable. And I think there's something to that as a coach when you have a bunch of players who, man, it could be really intimidating because this is a first-year head coach going to coach guys like Cam Jordan, you know what I mean? Or rookies. I mean, you're dealing with both ends of the spectrum on the age in bracket here and veterans and stuff. And I think he's got the buy-in, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what he did today or on Thursday? After practice, he goes up and kind of in his opening statement where he anticipates the questions we're going to ask. He's like, here's this injury, here's this injury, here's this player, here's this transaction, so on and so forth, which is super dope. But then after that, before he opens everything up to questions, he says, and by the way, I want to give a shout out to, I'm paraphrasing, but by the way, I want to give a shout out to Tulane and LSU who are beginning their practices today. It's such a small little thing. But it's so big in this community in particular to just have that awareness of other stuff that the fan base cares about. I thought that was such a nice touch. Like he's done such a good job, not just winning with his players, but as you mentioned, John, like winning with his kind of connection to the city and connection to the community. It's night and day, man. It's night and day.
Yeah. I love it because I mean that's exactly what you need whenever you're rebuilding. I mean, the number one thing that you can't build on, you can only build on top of what you have. It's culture, try and get a winning team without culture. I don't think it's going to happen.
But it's what he's doing is incredible when you really look at it, because usually building a culture is not something that happens as smoothly and as quickly as he's doing it. Like even like the Sean Payton transition from Haslett to Payton, that took time. Now, sure, we were successful right away, right? We made it to the NFC Championship game, but that was like, I feel like that took a long time for that change from the Katrina Saints to the Sean Payton, Drew Brees era Saints. That took a long time for that to kind of, fully mold into something that was sustainable and something that you could really, that was tangible almost, that you can see it and touch it. Like these guys are different. They're connected. They really, really genuinely care about and love each other. And they're all pulling in the same direction. Like to see that happening 8 days into training camp is pretty incredible. And it's definitely a credit to him, not just being ready for this job, but having a plan in place for how he was going to implement the things that were important to him and what he thinks is necessary for this program to turn around and be successful again. I mean, it is pretty incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's really good to see. Ross, do you have anything else to say about Kellen Moore? Because I know you liked him.
Yeah, I mean, look, going into this practice on Thursday, which is the most fun practice that I've ever covered, like the thing that made it so impactful and raised the urgency and the sense of competition and everything is that he lets his players play football. It's not always about here's what's scripted. He goes in and allows them, by calling plays and doing what they call call-in periods, to where he's calling plays and Brandon Staley's matching personnel and calling defenses based on who's in the huddle. And also, things like he makes everything feel like a game, and so he puts them in the situation where these football players can do what it is that they do best and play football. We talked to Jordan Howden on Thursday, the safety who had an interception in camp on Thursday as well. One of the 2 interceptions that got caught up on Tyler Shuck there. And one of the things that Jordan talked about was how, like, if they're seeing things on a football field and they need to adjust away from maybe what their gap is supposed to be because, some offensive player does something that moves, that changes the way that they're thinking or changes what happens, or somebody else does something and he's got to do something else, that he has the freedom, this defense has the freedom to go out there and do it. And then if anybody gets mad at them and says, hey, you didn't do the right thing, they have the freedom and the voice to be able to say, well, here's why I did it. And then when they go back into the film session and they discuss it, they'll look at it. And then they have coaches now that will look at them and say, you know what, I understand you. I see why you did what you did. And then kind of give them that freedom. And again, like, these are things that maybe you think happen, but don't always happen. That's not always the relationship between player and coach, right? And so just the agency and the ownership of the game that players get to have with this staff, I think, is one of those things that is so unique because of how surprisingly unique it actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Culture.
And culture. I'm gonna go with my winner next because I think it's one. I'm taking the name literally because I think if there's one job that has been won so far, it's one that some people might not be thinking of. It's Blake Grupe.
Good call. I was thinking about it. 19 and 20.
Blake Grupe is the starting kicker for the Saints in 2025. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Charlie Smith, I think, again, we've talked about it. Keep him around and keep building him. There's a lot there. There's a lot of raw talent there, but with the way the kickoffs are now, with his performance so far, I don't think that there's any question that Blake Grupe is going to be the starting kicker come week 1 for the New Orleans Saints this season. And I think that's a great thing. I mean, you're it's someone keeping their job from the last regime, but it's someone that was young and has shown improvement, and he's going to continue improving for the next couple, years, maybe.
Yeah.
Ross,
But
Go ahead.
That's exactly what you want to see from him, right? Like, the pressure essentially was on him to come out and prove that he should be the kicker in 2025, and he's done exactly that. I mean, I believe the only kick he's missed the entire camp was during a torrential downpour. So, like,
and he came out of nowhere.
Exactly. So, like, he's been on point. He's been consistent, clearly. And you don't just anoint people to specific spots and it's theirs forever, right? Like, you generally you want guys to earn positions, and that's the NFL. Just because he plays kicker doesn't mean that they're not constantly trying to replace him. Trust me. I mean, I saw enough receivers drafted, signed as free agents throughout the entirety of my career that were coming in to take my job. So kickers are not immune to that either. And it's been great to see, because there were some shaky moments in the last season. So to see him kind of get it back together and do what he's doing, that's exactly what we wanted to see.
Yeah.
Special teams matter.
Yeah, it does. Oh, and this is a pro special team show. Which set to become a restricted free agent after this year too. So it's a really interesting concept, because Charlie Smith is under the International Pathway Program, and so again, there's no pressure. We've talked about this on previous shows too. It seems like we've talked about special teams a good bit. I don't know why, but Charlie Smith.
Because I'm in charge, baby.
That's a really funny thought.
Right.
Milk toast. But anyways, I was to say that, look, I think Charlie Smith, we know he's got a powerful, talented leg. He just doesn't have as much experience. And look, good on Blake Grupe, because this is a team with a young quarterback that, regardless who plays, they're going to need him to come through and put points up on the board. They just are, because the red zone might not be where it needs to be. The drives are going to stall out. You don't have a Drew Brees there. You don't have a guy that's going to consistently get you in the end zone at this point. So he's going to be super important to this team and putting points up on the board.
Yep.
And so it's a good thing that he's there. He's definitely somebody I was going to give an honorable mention to if nobody talked about him. Good on you, Dylan.
I mean, we weren't going to get through this without it. But the Kellen Moore thing conversation went a little long. I love it. I thought it was a great conversation. But I don't want to cut off anyone. So let's jump into the ad. We're going to come back and get to Lance and Ross's winners and keep this conversation going. Do you ever wish that you had something to look at that could help you manage your money? Because that's Monarch Money. I bought a $22 sandwich earlier, and Monarch Money probably would have told me not to. It was pretty good.
Hell of a sandwich.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good, but
Never mind.
It better be.
but Monarch Money might have stepped in and be like, hey, because with Monarch Money, whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase like a sandwich, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, give you full visibility and control over your finances. So let Monarch Money be the Kai Harley to your Mickey Loomis. Don't let what might be a fun decision right now mess up your money into the future. Always have a plan, because Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Continuing on with our winners.
We've got to ask, what's a $22 sandwich? I'm just saying. I mean, what was it? What was a $22 sandwich? I got to know.
It had steak on it.
Steak, okay. Like a ribeye?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm not a chef. It had food on it.
Bro, you got gypped?
No, it was good. It was good.
Did it come with fries or chips?
Let me get that.
Good.
Hey, let me get that $22 food sandwich, please.
Hey,
I have a $22 food sandwich, please. Thank you.
I would go into further detail, but no free ads. No free ads.
Yeah, there it is.
Respect.
There it is.
No free ads.
Hey.
No free ads.
Yeah, we don't want to
No
put
free ads.
the place on blast that has a $22 sandwich. I get it.
Hey, they'd be getting all of our business right now.
I'm not $22.
Let's go over to Ross. Who is your winner for week one of
All right, I have two. I'm gonna say the name of the first one and only continue if Lance says it's not his guy. If I say it and it's Lance's guy, then Lance, I want you to say what you have to say about them, and I'll go to my second one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go for the second year with wide receiver Mason Tipton.
Okay.
Is that the guy you were going to bring up, Lance?
So, full disclosure here, I was going to go with Blake Groupie, and once Dylan took Blake Groupie, I was like, oh, okay, well I can go Mason Tipton. So,
all yours, my friend, all yours. I'll come back with mine. You take Mason. You go for it.
I was going to say you could put me on the spot and do your little 2 or 3 minutes spiel, and then I'll have to figure out another guy.
No, all yours, man. I'll come back. I got another one.
Look, man, at once upon a time, I was the training camp sweetheart for the Saints, right? Like it actually happened a couple of different times. Like 06, I had a good camp. 07, I had a great camp. 08, I had great camp. And you do that consistently, that will offer you potentially an opportunity to stick around. Once you stick around, it's about doing whatever it takes to get on the field. So for somebody like Mason Tipton, who I will be in touch with, because I'm, like to keep in touch with the young receivers there, I'm going to tell him to keep doing what he's doing. Now, that doesn't guarantee that he's going to be doing the same thing on Sundays come the regular season. It might be a situation where he's having to run down and cover kicks. It might be a situation where, hey, Rashid, we don't want you catching punts for us anymore. We need somebody else to go in. It might be Mason Tipton that goes in and is catching punts. That it could be special teams to start, but what he's doing now is setting the tone for what he could potentially be come Sundays if he gets a regular opportunity. I mean, the guy shows up every day. He makes plays.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was he got hurt last season. And to me, watching him from training camp, which I was in Irvine for a couple of practices last year, he was already hurt by that point. But
Yep.
all the stuff that I had seen and read up on about him to camp, I mean, in camp so far before then, was that he was balling, and he's doing the same thing. So if you have a guy that's doing that type of level of play, not just once, but he's doing it for a second time, then a smart person will kind of probably start to believe that that's the type of player that he is, right? Like it's rare that lightning strikes twice. So like this is the type of player that he could be. Now, obviously it's different in practice than it is in the games. But you can't do it in the games if you don't first do it in practice. So what I'm seeing from him, showing up, making plays every single day in practice. He's consistent. He's reliable. He's exactly what you want in a playmaker out there. He's smart. He can move around. He's fat. I mean, like, he's tough. He does everything well. And I think he will be a great depth piece for the Saints. And I hope at some point he's a regular that's playing on Sundays and making plays for us, because that's what we've been seeing thus far in training camp. I mean, he's what I feel like this offense has been missing a little bit. Like a guy that does a little bit of the dirty work, a little bit more of a grinder, can play inside primarily if you need him to. I mean, like we've missed that for a couple of years, and he could be the guy that fulfills that need that has to be filled if we want to be successful.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry, Ross. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ross. He didn't play any in the preseason last year, right? Because I think the injury kept him down.
Yep.
It was the hamstring, right?
It was a hamstring. Yeah, I remember hamstring. I just don't remember if he ever saw action in the preseason. But yeah,
I don't believe so.
Sure, if he continues to stay healthy, so that'd be interesting.
Yeah. That's the big thing. Like putting him in a Lance Moore, Willie Snead kind of role, or some blend in between those two. Like that's something that, and look, I know a lot of people are worried about like, oh, look, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cooks, Mason Tipton, if that's your top four, those are all smaller guys. But you know what you do? You make the cornerbacks tackle. That's what NFL teams do. They say block the safeties, block the linebacker in the front seven, make the corners tackle. I think that they're going to be okay. And look, Mason, last year when he hit the field, was not afraid to get in the mix. He didn't lack for want in the blocking game, which is really a part of the big part of it that matters. So yeah, no, he's been awesome. All right, I'll go to my other winner, and I'll be as brief as Ross Jackson can be. I haven't unlocked that part of my skill tree yet.
Lance said 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm gonna give a shout out to a rookie that we haven't given too many shout outs to, and I'm going to go with Quincy Riley, the Louisville corner.
Okay. Like it.
Look, Riley had a procedure in the offseason. We all know about that and everything. And, he wasn't able to really get involved during OTAs and minicamp. So we were wondering, is he going to be a little bit behind rep-wise, right? Time on task-wise. But he's got 2 interceptions so far in camp, both of them in the end zone. He's been showing good ball production, everything like that. He's been on the other side of some, some big plays and things like that, but he always comes back strong and everything. And so he has been somebody that's been really, really impressive to me over on the defensive side of the football, and especially being able to come in and have that impact early on and quickly. And you got to remember too, like he's a rookie corner going up against these 3 quarterbacks that are fighting for the number 1 role in there, one way or another. And so you have quarterbacks that are going after you when they feel comfortable going after you. And I will give Tyler Shuck his praise today on Thursday, that he was way more aggressive than we've seen him be. To Lance's point, though, is that good? Is that bad? We don't know. We'll find out. But man, Quincy Riley is just somebody that continuously makes plays, and he's always in position. Like even when there's a big play that is given up, it's not because Quincy Riley is out of position or got beat or anything like that, outside of like one-on-ones and things like that. Like he has just been a guy that's always around the football, that's always in position, and that just keeps finding ways to take the football away. And I think all of those things with the losses that the Saints have had in their secondary over the course of the offseason, and then, of course, the trade deadline last year, that's kind of the type of player that they need. And so I think he's going to be a really, really good fit for them. And he has been a guy that has been a outside corner, a boundary corner for them all of camp. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing like how he continues to push potentially for that other outside cornerback job in those sub packages along with Isaac Yiadom. Both those guys are performing well throughout camp, but Quincy Riley's doing something nobody else is doing, and he's taking the football away.
I like it. Before we get off of this and we can transition into our takeaways, just because I promised last week we would talk about them, I do want to give a shout out to Danny Stutzman as a honorable mention. He's come out with a lot of energy, and he has made a lot of plays, I think, on the defensive side of the ball. He's not going to be a starter come week one, but this is a guy that he's done what he needs to do so far in camp, and he's impressed so far. Like, anytime they show a play, my eyes go to 47, kind of because he forces it to. He forces the other one because he's just so fast. He looks like he's on a different level. He is in mid-season form, as some might say, just in terms of athleticism. But let's transition into our.
I was gonna say, I had one person tell me about Danny Stutzman. He said he's a baller and a true throwback player, and he just loves to play ball. So I just thought that was pretty cool to hear about him, because it's evident when you see him play on the field. Interesting LB3 battle between him and Nephi Sewell right now going on. I kind of like that, because linebacker depth is a little bit kind of question mark, I guess, if you will. But I see these two guys really playing, and I feel better about it right now.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's transition into overall takeaways. I want to talk a little bit more about Kellen Moore and what they're doing on the offensive side. I guess. I saw someone made a comment earlier about Kellen Moore being in his bag at the podium, but I think what I'm more interested to see is that we might be seeing some glimpses of getting into a bag on offense, because whenever Clint Kubiak got hired, one of the things that people were talking about, maybe they'll get creative, and they tried that and it worked for 2 weeks until it went wrong once, and everyone freaked out. There was people running around on fire with the chickens with their head cut off. Nothing was working after that. What are we going to see in terms of creativity so far from the offense based on what you've seen so far, Ross?
Yeah, I think one of the things is, and a couple of the offensive linemen have talked about this too, is that a lot of creativity in the run game. And that when you watch it as, a broadcast view and all these other things, it's just going to look like a run play. But for them, understanding what it is that they're doing, what they're trying to take advantage of, the gap that they're trying to create, how they're getting there, how they're utilizing the athleticism of the offensive line, how they're moving players, all these other things, and how the running backs are taking advantage of those opportunities, there's a lot of creativity and there's a lot of innovation there. But remember, innovation isn't always about doing something risky and doing something brand new. It's about finding a new way to do something that's tried and true, right? Peter Sermon, I'll give him, he was, I spoke with him, the linebacker coach, and he kind of opened my eyes to that a little bit too over on the defensive side. Very similar situation there. But I think you're going to see a lot of that creativity in the run game. And I think you're going to see that with things like duo runs. You're going to see that in terms of RPOs. You're going to see that in terms of play actions, zone reads. We've seen a lot of. They did a quarterback run install earlier in the week as well. So I think that you'll see a lot of that creativity really happen in the run game. And then I would imagine you'll see some of it in the passing game too. Don't get me wrong, but it's going to be a lot of that kind of being added on year over year over year, I imagine. But in the run game, they can get right to it. And so I think that's where you're going to see a lot of it. And that's kind of going to be the identity of this team in 2025. Like, that's what you do when you have a young quarterback sometimes. And so I think that's probably where you're going to see most of it. He's got a bag. I'm just curious to see if he's going to be in it week one.
Is there anything else, John, Lance, whoever, that stood out so far on the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I think to add to the run part, I mean, TJ Paganetti, those guys, kind of joined together at Philly. And again, everybody's got to remember this offense is going to be a hybrid of a lot of different styles that Kellen Moore has been a part of. Dallas, Los Angeles, and then obviously Philly. And then there's going to be some of the New Orleans concepts that are sprinkled in too. And I remember talking to Brendan Nugent, and even just the basic philosophy of how the offensive line is attacking the guy opposite of them is just different. And to talk to players, it's just different in a way that's, again, like Ross said, you throw up on screen, you're not going to see a lot of that stuff. But I know that we've seen a lot of different types of motion from this offense. That's another wrinkle that's a little bit different. I mean, I know it was interesting because we went from, I don't want to say generic vanilla, but we went from something where it's like, oh, we're going to introduce this play action, wide zone run under Kubiak with a lot more motion. And we did see a lot more of the elements of motion, but this is completely like the orbital motions, all sorts of different looks that make the defense have to think about what they're about to do. And so, look, I think Kellen Moore is going to have plenty in his bag when it comes to calling plays. I don't think he's going to have a play call sheet quite extensive as Sean Payton maybe, but at the same time, I think he's going to have a really good bag of things to do. I don't think it's going to be a lack of creativity on his part. I don't think you'll be seeing something like the double pass like we saw to Cedric Wilson like we did last year that was so tired. I just feel like he's been around this league long enough and he's smart enough to be able to craft plays that are going to work and where it's going to keep the defense guessing, and it's going to make the Saints offense at least interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
I think he's gonna make this offense more versatile. They're going to be better equipped when it comes to being able to run different types of plays, and I also think, judging by what we've seen thus far, that they're going to be better prepared than they were last year. And that to me might potentially be the most important thing when it comes to being able to go out and execute on game days. And that's not to say that the coaches did a terrible job last year or the guys weren't ready to play. I just think with what we've seen thus far, I think the guys will be more ready to play come 2025 on offense.
Saw what you did there.
Yeah.
More.
More. We've talked a lot about the offensive so far. Coming up to wrap it up for us, we're going to talk a little bit about the defensive side of the ball. Chicken fried steak, bacon, yellow barbecue, and cheddar, and lettuce and onion was the sandwich.
Oh,
right.
Can you do that again? What was it?
Chicken fried steak, bacon, yellow barbecue, and cheddar, and lettuce and red onion.
Onion. Okay.
I still don't see $22. What kind of bread?
Yeah. And was it a gigantic
That would give it away. The bread would give it away.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was.
So you paid for bread.
I'm gonna get 2 meals out of it. I got a free sandwich for buying the first one. It's all good. Really good. But I do wish I could lie. But I did remember whenever I went to go buy it, they did give an option for zip pay. I wish I was. I think it was just the service that they used, but they're like, if you're getting a payment plan for a sandwich,
I'd like to finance the sandwich for the next 6 months.
Go try out our friends at Monarch Money.
They will help you out. They're gonna get you right.
Yeah, they'll get you right.
They say, "Oh no, baby, what is you doing?"
Oh man!
Hey, can I say one more thing before we jump to defense? I'd like to say one more thing about offensive creativity because Lance jogged my memory on the idea of being more prepared. The multiple nature of Kellen Moore's offense makes it so that he'll be able to game plan specifically for the defense that they're facing each week. Excuse me. And so there's a level of preparation that's going to be pre-built into what it is that they're doing anyway, because that game plan will shift based upon what it is that an opposing defense does, what their identity is, what they do well, what they don't do well, and how to create mismatches against that. So instead of walking in with a single identity that says we're just going to do what it is that we do and we're going to do what we do better than they do what they do, which is fine. He's kind of coming in with a different approach that's a little bit more Peyton-like. I'm not comparing Kellen Moore to Sean Payton, but a little bit more Peyton-like, where it's like, hey, let's game plan for what's across from us instead of trying to just be rigidly identity defined. And so I think that's one of those things that kind of lends itself to what it is that Lance was talking about with being more prepared.
Yeah, I like that. John, why don't you start us off with the defense? What's caught your eye so far?
I mean, it's got to be Chase Young, right? Chase Young, Carl Granderson, the way the pass rush has kind of looked, and just the steps. And again, here's the thing with the pass rush, it's not going to matter until it's week 1. It just doesn't. Like, it's Eddie Murphy. What have you done for me lately? You got to show us, right? You got to be able to say these are two guys that still combined for less than 10 sacks last year. And so again, I feel good about what we've seen from Chase Young, what we've seen from Carl Granderson. Again, I mentioned Isaiah Foskey too. I think, again, his defense is better suited for him. And then even guys like Chris Rumpf bringing it a little bit today and such. I just feel like the thing to keep an eye on is, can it lead to more sack production? Can it actually lead to finishing the play? That's the biggest question for me is can you now translate that into the better scheme, the more freedom to rush? Can you finish at the quarterback and make plays instead of these almost sacks, or you just a half second late, or whatever the case may be? And that's for me where the proof in the pudding is going to be. But I feel like based off of the several days, and Chase Young was killing it at camp last year too. But, again, I feel like these guys are bringing it and they're excited about it. You can tell that they're really feeding off of this new defensive scheme. It's better suited for them. And I just feel like that can lead to some very successful things if it carries over and it translates into the season.
Yeah. I think one of the things that you highlighted there, John, that's really important are the other guys. And Chris Rumpf's had a pretty strong camp. Now, he spent a lot of time with the second and third team whose offensive lines have not been very good. Like, offensive line depth, I think is probably going to end up being a concern again this year. I do like the upgrades of Will Clapp and Dylan Radins, but they are only upgrades for Will Clapp and Dylan Radins. And so, but even despite that, like, you still look at the individual effort of players and what it is that they're doing, and Chris Rumpf has been impressive. Isaiah Foskey's had a strong last 2 days of camp. He had a strip sack against Tyler Shuck. We believe it was Isaiah Foskey. Again, the angle was weird in the indoor facility. We were pretty sure it was Isaiah Foskey, though, who had the strip sack against Tyler Shuck. And then he had a couple of pressures again the day before that on Wednesday as well. And so I think that, like, and then of course you've got Cam Jordan. That's a part of all of it as well, who's a given, but it's the other guys too at that position that I think are showing at least some promise. Like, Young and Granderson are the reasons for optimism. Those other guys end up being sort of the rising tide that raises all ships.
Yeah, and I'm not purposely forgetting Cam. Cam's going to be just fine. I think this is going to be great for him too. Yeah, I think he's going to eat. He just give him in the positions where he's going to succeed. Not like last year and just keep him on the bench. There's no point. Why are you playing him 10 snaps a game? That's disrespectful. I mean, I'll never understand that. I just won't.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to someone when I was super hyped for the signing. It was Julian Blackman. Oh, yeah. I was excited whenever they signed him, and I really wanted him to come in because I thought he was very capable of coming in and winning the starting job opposite Justin Reed. It turns out it's not going to be replacing Tyrann Mathieu. It's like kind of replacing Justin Reed almost, is what we thought Justin Reed would be doing, because Justin Reed's now Tyrann Mathieu. Julian Blackman can step in, and at this point, I'd be shocked if he wasn't the starter opposite Justin Reed come week 1, because he seems like a great fit for what they want out of that role. He does well. This is someone that Brandon Staley has wanted in his defense for a long time, and Julian Blackman has come in and done exactly what Brandon Staley has wanted him to do. And I think that's a big win to get a veteran safety at this late into the game that is going to come in and be a starter week 1. I think it's a great signing as of now.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. He's been awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that safety room is completely different. I mean, it's going to be, if Blackman can be that guy, I mean, we're talking about not a guy who's might not necessarily be an all-pro, but we're probably talking about a guy who they thought Marcus May could be with a lot more upside. That's probably what I would go. And I just feel like he's got the talent, he's got the skills. The health and availability has just been his problem. But I think he's got a lot of talent to be able to potentially be that starter. And, You know, it's good to hear about Jordan Howden doing really well. And that's a guy that, again, they've asked him to do a couple of different things. And now it's funny. You talk to a lot of these defensive guys and how much excitement they have for this defensive scheme and finally feeling like we're doing what feels right. And so, again, I feel like a guy like Blackman coming in here, he's going to only thrive. And I hope for their sake that the secondary is a lockdown secondary because they need it. Something fierce.
Lance, so what has caught your eye so far?
I think when I'm thinking about the defense and what my overall takeaway is, it's similar to that of the entire team. Is that they've got new life, right? Like they seem to be invigorated. They seem to have embraced everything that's new. They have a new level of energy. I mean, obviously I haven't been in the building, but I mean, Ross has talked about it the entire offseason, that the energy is just different. And I don't have to be there to feel the energy. I can listen to one interview from any of the guys, coach or player, and you can tell that there is big time optimism with what they're doing. It all makes sense. And that to me is like probably the most important takeaway, you know, more important than any one player that stepped up or any coach that's doing X's and O's. I mean, obviously Brandon Staley being there and having this group to coach is important. But the fact that they've it's not as simple as just changing a coordinator. Like we've changed the entirety of our defense, right? Changing schemes is not something that is as simple as, oh, okay, instead of you lining up over here with your hand in the ground, now you're going to stand up. Like it's not as simple as that because everybody's job in that front seven changes now. And so for them to fully embrace it and to seem to be enjoying the ride as they're learning and growing together. I mean, that to me is the most crucial piece. And I think with that comes the opportunity for them to go out and compete and potentially be successful. Now, what happens on Sunday could be something completely different, but this at least lays the foundation for them becoming a good defense. And then obviously, you know, when the games start, then we'll see it, you know, what that all really means. But for now, to me, that's the coolest thing from afar.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know what Brandon Staley's defense needs? It needs a nose tackle. And that's where one of my big winners is. Devon Gottschall is that dude, man. Like he changes everything. He changes the numbers on the inside. And when I talk about the numbers, what I mean is, you know, changing in terms of creating one-on-one opportunities or potentially even unblocked opportunities because he can take up more guys and stuff like that. Man, he's just strong. He anchors so well. He is just big as all get out as well. And is just one of those dudes that's like kind of the immovable force that I feel like the Saints have kind of been going after and trying to find since like Malcolm Brown, probably. Like going back a little bit, right? Like he would probably be the last real, he would be the last real good like anchor on the interior of that defensive line. Like Sheldon Rankins was an attacking, good defensive tackle, all those other pieces. I'm not trying to diminish anybody else, but like Malcolm Brown's game style has not been replicated since his departure. Malcolm Roach was really close, but Malcolm Roach was dealing with a lot of injuries here in New Orleans and stuff like that. And so he never really got the opportunity to kind of get over certain hurdles and everything, but I believe he's still in Denver. He certainly did well in Denver when he ended up there.
I think so.
And so, so he's been awesome. But like, man, Devon Gottschall, to Lance's point, is one of those key additions that helps all of those things happen in terms of that defensive scheme change and the familiarity that he has with the, basic ideas of what it is that he's being asked to do and what the rest of the defense around him is going to be asked to do is a super valuable piece to that addition as well.
Malcolm Brown was coincidentally a former Patriot as well when he joined.
That's
Saints,
right.
So maybe lightning can strike twice. It could happen.
There you go.
That's a signing that I'm glad to be wrong about. Not that I was worried about him being the only guy that they brought in at nose tackle just because they've needed so much more production out of that side. A guy who has, been up and down in his NFL career. I'll always stick by the LSU guys. But It's one I needed to see in action before I was really happy about the move. And I think that my worries are being quelled so far. I think it's been, a good start. I know at the top of the show, I said I was sad that I was missing the Hall of Fame game. I just checked it. DJ Uiagalelei threw 3 passes. And you know what? I think I'm good.
Yeah, that's always at the Hall of Fame game. Everybody's so excited, and then they get through the first quarter, and they're like, "All right, I'm done." Like that's usually how it goes. Hey, and spoiler alert: the Saints are probably playing in a Hall of Fame game next year. Just saying, because a certain
Drew
quarterback's be
Brees
going in.
Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I mean, it would just make sense. Just saying.
So it makes sense. And you know what? I'm glad I missed it because I got to be here with all of y'all here at the Saints Squad Show. Thank you for listening. You can check out me, Ross, John, and Lance on our socials for the latest. We'll be right back here on Monday to keep talking about Saints training camp. But until then, be sure to check out Locked On Saints for your most up-to-date training camp news. Get yourself a 5-hour energy fusion to get through it. And
$22
I'll see y'all on Monday.